management, and advertisers.
What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. Hope everybody had a good weekend out there, pushing the limits. Of course, everyone on the YouTube page at PTL Radio Show, the AM/FM dial KSHP, the Really American Network, which we're so happy to be a proud of, and the 200,000 listeners we have every day across all the social media platforms. We're so appreciative that you're here. And we got some great guests lined up for you. At the bottom of the hour, Midas Touch's very own Ron Filipkowski is going to be joining us. He is someone that served in the military, so we're definitely going to ask him about the comments of J.D. Vance comparing Donald Trump to a Marine. And before I introduce to you our next guest, and by the way, we are in the YouTube Super Chat as well. Your questions and comments will be read, and of course the website, which is pushingthelimits.live. So before we introduce our next guest, J.D. Vance was being interviewed by Welker over the weekend, and we know that Donald Trump dodged the military multiple times. Here's what J.D. Vance had to say about Donald Trump comparing him to a Marine. Have a listen to this.
In ways big and small, actually. It would not have shocked me if I had learned after knowing him that your father-in-law had been in the Marine Corps, because, and of course he didn't serve in the Marines, but he has a very Marine Corps style of leadership where he's very willing to delegate. And he trusts certain people. And when he trusts those people, he's willing to give them a task and say, go and do it, come back to me and report in a week. Whether you're a Lance Corporal or you're the Commandant of the Marine Corps, everybody has a few people that report to him. Everybody has a critical task that they have to do. And everybody is a critical part of that chain that connects us from the lowest of the low to the highest of the high.
There you have J.D. Vance, our vice president, comparing Donald Trump to a Marine. I mean, if you served this country, I can't imagine how that must make you feel. And the person we have joining us right now, not only is he a popular left-leaning podcaster, he's got a couple of great podcasts out there, a personal friend of mine, but he also served this country honorably. Of course, I'm talking about Ryan Ched, who's joining us right on the show. Ryan, good to see you, my friend. How are you?
You too, brother. Doing good in the face of all this stuff.
Yeah. I'm wondering, you're someone who served. When you hear that audio clip that I just played of J.D. Vance comparing Donald Trump to a Marine, you're someone who served. What goes through your mind?
It's straight propaganda, and unfortunately, it's propaganda that works, right? Because if it didn't work, Trump wouldn't be sitting where he's sitting. I'm sure Ron and many of us other veterans on the left are going to point out all of the things that Donald Trump has done to negatively affect not just our active duty military, but our veterans, retirees, the VA. Like, stop paying attention to the words this guy's using and pay more attention to what he's doing, because he is not for the military unless he can use us in some way politically, then he loves us.
Right. That's a really good point that you make. What do you make of the fact that, today Donald Trump is complaining about domestic violence arrests that are hurting his "there is no crime in D.C." rhetoric. And, people are trying to come up with a reason to believe Mike Johnson that somehow Donald Trump was an FBI informant, and that's why he was so close to Jeffrey Epstein, which is, by the way, also completely ridiculous. What do you make of that?
I'm so glad you brought this up, because I've been dying to talk about it. It's all ridiculous. It's all, hey, look over here, so that you don't pay attention to what we're actually doing. I think anybody that has been paying attention to who Donald Trump is as a person would not be very surprised to see or hear that he does not think that domestic violence is really that big of a deal. He doesn't think it should count as a crime because, just because some people got into a fight, it doesn't mean it should be a crime. It's like, ooh, really bad take, especially when you consider the fact that your ex-wife had accused you of similar things that you don't think should be counted as a crime. So, coming from the felon, business fraud, shouldn't surprise many of us.
What did you make of Donald Trump? I have to bring this up. Flushing Meadows, New York at the U.S. Open, getting booed by, I'm sure there were a few out there that were cheering him, but it didn't seem like many of the New Yorkers out there, which we know is for the most part a liberal crowd, enjoyed the fact that not only Donald Trump was there watching the men's final, but thousands of people missed the first few games of the match because of security and Donald Trump being there.
Yeah. No, again, thank you for bringing that up, because there's a reason that the president doesn't go to these things. There's a reason the president doesn't go to the U.S. Open, to Daytona 500, to the FIFA World Cup, whatever it was, because everywhere he goes, so Secret Service has to show up and do their thing. They have to literally vet everybody. So go watch the videos of the fans. Again, these are the actual fans that want to show up, see their favorite tennis player, see the tennis match. People have been going to the US Open for 10, 20 years saying that they've never experienced anything like this. They had to go through 2 security checkpoints. One was the original that they would usually go through, and then they'd be able to go into the open court, go get food, whatever, before the tennis. So then there was another checkpoint that was set up that was Secret Service, and they got stuck outside of that one for hours, which is the one that Brian's talking about where they missed matches. And then on top of it, so they bring Donald Trump in, they usher him in for his little political stunt, and then they've got him waving to, guess what, literally 10% of maybe a crowd sitting in the whole stadium. So they're doing his propaganda videos with, again, nobody in the stadium. He falls asleep. And then when the person the American didn't win or whatever it was, he got caught on his face being like, because it's like, now you can't make it about you. They're not going to let you out there to do your thing. And they learned their lesson. And he got booed. There were way more boos than there were people cheering this guy on. And then in typical Trump fashion, he's signing hats and throwing them out to the crowd. I'm just like, oh my God, dude.
Yeah, it just sickens me to my stomach. So correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan, but it seems as though now that every person of color with an accent in the U.S. should probably carry proof of citizenship with them at all times in this country now, while working and everywhere they go. Now, I don't understand where we're at in this country now, because it appears as though these ICE agents, or people that don't even identify themselves as ICE agents, can go up to any brown person and ask for proof of citizenship.
Well, again, the Supreme Court just made this a thing. So I believe it only applied to California, but this is a precedent that is being set by the Supreme Court. So it's serious. And they're saying that pretty much the ICE and federal agents can racially profile now. So like Brian's saying, he's saying, well, carry around your papers to make sure that you're legal, which absolutely, definitely be able to prove it. But let's also not forget that they don't necessarily care. They're picking anybody up that they think could be, even if they have citizenship, even if they have a work visa. So, even that isn't going to save these people. So my question to your listeners is, when you give police immunity and permission to racially profile, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, that's a good question. And something that we all need to think about. What do you make of the fact that it appears as though the governor of Illinois is doing everything he can to block Donald Trump's attempt to send in the National Guard? It appears as though they're going to make the same attempt in Baltimore and New Orleans. What do you think is going to happen here? What ultimately is going to happen?
I've said it on your show a couple of times, and I'm trying to be very cautious with how I say this, but we've questioned a lot on if the president isn't going to follow laws, if he's going to deregulate everything, if he doesn't even understand the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, where do we go from here? You know what? I just seriously forgot where I was going with that question. What were we talking about directly?
Well,
I'm so pissed at Trump, dude.
Oh, as am I. As am I. Trust me.
What was the question, though? Because I want
it's a two-part question, really. It starts with, what do you think is going to happen? Because obviously Governor Pritzker out there in Illinois is going to do what he can to block the president from doing this. I also find it interesting that he's calling out the National Guard to every mayor that happens to be a black Democrat. I don't think that's a coincidence there either. But what do you think is going to happen here ultimately?
Well, I really wonder if there's going to be a peaceful solution at this point. If he doesn't even understand the Constitution and Bill of Rights, which is where I was going. Thank you. So, and I gotta say, it's quite impressive actually, because I was just reading an article this morning talking about how there are gang members and leaders of those gangs coming together now and releasing public statements saying, if you show up to Chicago, we are going to be here waiting for you. Oh, and by the way, we don't have spitballs and BB guns waiting for you.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, this is I fear, let me put it that way, that what we are seeing in Chicago and probably about to see in Baltimore is just testing the waters. These are trial balloons, guys. That's all this is. What can I get away with? Can I get away with sending the military there? Oh, I can? Great, let's do it. Now, what else can I get away with? That's literally what it is. It's throwing everything against the wall and seeing what he's going to be able to get away with and what he's not. And from where I'm sitting, the unfortunate part is I don't think enough Americans either A, are paying attention, or B, care that we've been here before. We've seen this. They are worshiping photos of Donald Trump in the Capitol like we used to see people worshiping photos of that guy during World War II.
Yeah.
Like there is serious comparisons to be made here. And again, it's like one of those things, like what happens to anybody or any group of people that refuse to learn from past mistakes or from history?
Yeah. That's a good point.
We don't survive.
No, you're right. We don't. It's interesting because Pam Bondi and others, Tom Homan and others, they say, well, when we go into these neighborhoods like DC, people come up to us and whisper in our ear how happy we are. It's funny. We never see evidence of that. But what we did see over the weekend was thousands and thousands of people in Washington, D.C. that were peacefully protesting against the National Guard. But they'll never talk about that, will they, Ryan?
No. Again, did you see it on Fox News? I didn't see it on many news channels, and I could be wrong, but I personally did not see it on many news channels, but I did see it all over social media. And that tells me that there are people that are pissed off and that are sharing it because they know that it's not getting shared in the right place. It's not getting amplified on the mainstream media. So that's why shows like your show and our show, they matter, because we are at least trying to push out this information. Like I always say, I'm not trying to start a cult. I just like fact checking one. So don't just take my word for it. If I tell you something, go fact check me. I'm completely okay with it, because it's somebody that isn't trying to pull one over on you or get you to go along with something because it benefits them. The truth is just the truth. So fact check me. That doesn't bother me, because I'm not trying to mislead you. I'm trying to lead us to a better place and lead us to understand what's really happening right now, because what's happening right now is serious. When we talk civil war, and we talked about it 6 months, a year ago, this is what they're doing. Again, I ask you, correct me if I'm wrong in the comment sections. What peaceful solution do you currently see to this? They are not listening to states. They're taking away state rights, which is really funny considering when they, kick back women's rights to the state. Apparently, they just want states to have control when it benefits Trump. I don't know. But the reality is, I don't see a peaceful solution. So what's next? Because we can't just sit back and keep allowing it. We can't keep sitting here watching the house burn down and still be tightening the fire hose to put it out. No, we need to hurry up. We need to do something. And I don't know if midterms is going to be soon enough. I really don't.
I don't. We still got a ways away before the midterms. That's actually a really good point. What do you make of where this country, I guess that's a loaded question, where this country is at today when it comes to immigration policy, when it comes to tariffs, economic policy, the new jobs report that just came out, which I believe was the worst since 2009, unemployment rising, inflation not getting any better, the price of groceries are jumping up. I gave those stats out last week. Yep. What do you make of the state of affairs in this country right now as a whole, 7 months into Donald Trump's administration?
The I told you so's don't taste very well.
Yeah.
A lot of us kind of saw this coming, so it's not a surprise. I think, and again, just for me personally, what has surprised me is everybody's willingness to kind of just let it happen. And again, if we don't stop these things from happening now, we are losing control. I just don't see. I don't see anybody stepping up to take control. And even, I'm going to take a second just because I got to be me. even on the left, like I need you guys, I need your actions to match what you're saying. And I'll just leave it at that. I need your actions to match what you're saying.
Ryan, you are the best, my friend. I always appreciate you coming on this show. There's a reason why you have such a large following on social media. Please keep up the great work. Well, I don't know if that's true, Ryan. You were doing this way before I became somewhat popular,
but
give
I
out that
appreciate you guys.
Give out the YouTube page though, because your YouTube page is growing. Give that out.
Yeah. So my YouTube's under my name, Ryan Shed, SHEAD. I have podcasts with my boy Ian that I grew up with called Hold the Mic. And then I have a podcast that I co-host with Marcus Flowers out of Georgia called With All Due Respect. So please go follow my YouTube because all the videos get broadcast there. As always, Brian, thank you so much for having me on. Thanks to your production team doing everything in the background. So look forward to seeing you guys again.
Brian, always appreciate it, my friend. Have a great rest of your day. Appreciate that. From one guy who served this country honorably, of course, Ryan Shed, to another guy who served this country honorably. Coming up next, I guess we will take a what are we doing, producer? Tell me what's going on here. What would you like to do? Are we good? Okay, so before I introduce my next guest, I want to play this clip one more time because I think it's important because Ryan Shed served, and the guy coming up next, Ron Filipkowski from Midas Touch, served as well. I want you to listen to what J.D. Vance said once again, making a comparison between Donald Trump and somebody who served in the Marines because it's despicable. Have a listen to this.
That's right. Well, in ways big and small, actually. It would not have shocked me if I had learned after knowing him that your father-in-law had been in the Marine Corps because, and of course, he didn't serve in the Marines, but he has a very Marine Corps style of leadership where he's very willing to delegate and he trusts certain people. And when he trusts those people, he's willing to give them a task and say, go and do it, come back to me and report in a week. Whether you're a Lance Corporal or you're the Commandant of the Marine Corps, everybody has a few people that report to them. Everybody has a critical task that they have to do. And everybody is a critical part of that chain that connects us from the lowest of the low to the highest of the high.
Oh, my goodness. He's making comparisons between Donald Trump and a Marine. The guy who, by the way, is a draft dodger multiple times. I mean, it frustrates me. I can't imagine how much it frustrates this guy who served this country honorably as a hero, and he obviously does a great job for Midas Touch, and we're very lucky to have him on every week. Love having Ron Filipkowski join us. Ron, I don't know what goes through your mind when you heard that clip for the first time, but I would imagine you must have been pretty upset.
Yeah, definitely upset. I mean, that was the first thing. I was really pretty furious, and I think I fired off an F-bomb there in my tweet, which I don't do very often, but sometimes I do. Yeah, that was gross. I don't know what Vance's experience was in the Marines. I know he briefly served as a correspondent, a junior enlisted man, taking photographs and writing press releases at division headquarters in a nice air-conditioned building. That was different than my experience. So maybe his supervisors were a little bit different than mine because mine did not in any way resemble Donald Trump. I was just looking up because the Marine Corps has these like leadership traits, 14 leadership traits that are hammered into us. In fact, we have to memorize these and recite them. 14 leadership traits of Marines. So here they are. And you could tell me, if Trump embodies these: justice, good judgment, dependable, takes initiative, decisiveness, tact, integrity, enthusiasm, bearing, how you carry yourself, unselfishness, courage, knowledge, loyalty, and endurance. Those are the leadership traits. So no, I mean, Donald Trump wouldn't last 5 minutes in the Marine Corps. So it's just sad that someone like Vance has to take and this was an interview he was doing with Laura Trump, right?
Yep.
That he has to take his ass kissing. He has to drag the Marine Corps into his ass kissing session.
That's what I was going to ask you, Ron. That was my next question. We all know that they're ass kissing this guy, J.D. Vance, who once called Donald Trump possibly the next American Adolf Hitler. J.D. Vance might not be, telling the truth, but he's certainly not stupid. He knows that Donald Trump dodged the military. As someone like J.D. Vance who served himself, isn't this the worst level you can get to try to compare Donald Trump to a brave man or woman who served the country like you? I mean, it doesn't get any worse than this, does it?
No, it's really just bizarre that he would go here. With Trump of all people who dodged the draft, bogus. Look, let's quickly review the doctor who signed off on the notes for Trump's 5 deferments on bone spurs his office space for his doctor's office was in Fred Trump's building. Fred Trump was his landlord at the time. So we don't know exactly what he got in exchange, maybe a couple free months of rent, who knows, but clearly a conflict of interest there. And then bone spurs are not something that typically you would have to get surgery or something for. It's not something that typically just miraculously goes away. Trump never had surgery for bone spurs. I mean, they just miraculously healed themselves, right?
Yeah, and Ron, we also know that doctor who has since passed away, members of his family have gone public and said that their father, made up this stuff because Trump never even had bone spurs to begin with. His daughters actually have come out publicly and said that.
Yeah. So if you want to compare Trump to any other political leader with some kind of bogus comparison, you want to compare him to Winston Churchill or Abraham Lincoln or Ronald Reagan or whatever BS you want to come up with, that's fine, but don't try and compare him to some of the great leaders of the Marine Corps when this guy is a physical coward. I mean, he's never been in a fight in his life. He's not a physical guy. He's not a tough guy. The guy's never even been swimming before. I mean, how can the guy's never taken his shirt off in a public place. I mean, we're supposed to believe that this is some tough guy, Marine Corps, combat leader. I mean, come on, dude. I mean, give me a break.
Yeah, I'm with you. And especially somebody like you who served honorably. We just had Ryan Shedd on who served as well. So speaking of lies and ridiculousness in Washington, D.C., it appears to me, Ron, and you tweeted about this, that they're trying, at least Mike Johnson making the case that at one point Donald Trump was an undercover FBI informant. And that's why somehow he was friends with Jeffrey Epstein for 10 years. I mean, this is bogus and nonsense. There's no evidence to prove this.
Yeah, this has been an internet conspiracy theory on the right for a long time, that what they have said is the reason why Trump, there's all these pictures out there of Trump hanging out with Epstein in video, is because he was an informant for the FBI, and that's just a far right kind of Alex Jones type of conspiracy. So then Mike Johnson comes out and says this, and he was working for the FBI is what Mike Johnson said, as an informant in the Epstein case. And he was a true hero, that he helped set up Epstein and bust him. And of course, everybody is like, where is this coming? Does he have some inside knowledge that we don't know about? Well, then after many press inquiries, his office, not even him, he doesn't come out and issue a retraction himself because he has no courage or integrity. He's just a straight up liar, fraud Christian. And so his office issues a statement last night, which says, where did he get this from? Well, he got this from one of the lawyers of the victims at the victim's press conference, said that back in 2009, Trump provided him some information which was helpful to his investigation of the case on behalf of the victims. I think they were filing some kind of lawsuit against Epstein or something at the time.
Right.
And said, however, and so that's all he did. He didn't provide any information to the FBI. He wasn't working for the FBI. He made a phone call to one of the lawyers 20 years ago and gave him some information that was helpful to him, whatever the case may be. But the same lawyer then went on to say, but since then, I have been very disappointed in Trump that he's appeared to have done a 180 on all of this and is no longer helpful at all. So that lawyer says that Mike Johnson took that and turned it into Donald Trump was an informant for the FBI and is a hero. I mean, come on.
Absolutely absurd. Speaking of absurd, I'm wondering, Ron, I used to go to the U.S. Open in Flushing Meadows with my dad when I was a kid. It's a great tournament, and I love it. We would have been very irate if we had tickets to the men's final and we missed the first couple games of the first set because selfishly the president wanted to be there. What did you make of that and the president getting booed by a lot of people who I would imagine are anti-Trump that live in New York City? What did you make of that whole spectacle?
Yeah, I mean, there was a bunch of things from that. First of all, you mentioned the security, which is like over the top now ever since the shooting thing in PA. There, security everywhere Trump goes is like as bad as it was for presidents before. It's like 10 times worse now, as strict. So yeah, people were stuck up. People couldn't, and imagine how much you pay for those tickets and how hard they are to get for the men's final. Some of the people got in over an hour after the match started. So when Trump comes out the first time, the stadium is almost completely empty. And that's the part where like he had some of his fans around there, some of his guests. So they were like, clapping and stuff like that. So it was like a mixed reception. But then when they showed him an hour later, when everyone was finally in the stadium, they showed him, he got loudly booed. So there's a few other things here going on. First, he was a guest of Rolex. It was Rolex, the Swiss company, owns the box, and they gave his entire entourage, his whole cabinet was there. Why? Because Switzerland is currently under 35% Trump tariffs, which they are desperately trying to get lifted. So we will keep an eye on whether Switzerland's tariffs gets lifted. Then Trump was caught by a great photographer popping some kind of blue pill in his mouth.
I saw that.
That people don't know what the hell that was. Looked like an Adderall or something. So, I mean, now it's like one of the great award-winning photographers got that great shot of him. And then there's another great shot of Ivanka's daughter, 14-year-old daughter. Ivanka was not there. This is Jared and Ivanka's daughter, Arabella, was there looking just absolutely miserable. Like did not want to be there, didn't want to be sitting there, just her head down, frown on her face. So clearly like mom did not want to go, probably made her go in her place. And she made it pretty clear to everyone around her, she did not want to be there. So there was a lot of little things going on there.
Yeah. I was watching that live. Pretty absurd. Ron, a couple more quick questions before I let you go. You had mentioned this on your X feed, and I think you're right. It appears as though every person of color now with an accent should be carrying proof of citizenship with them at all times. I mean, is this the country that we want to live in now? Because it appears as though this is what Tom Homan wants to do. What do you make of this?
It's funny. I said on my podcast last week, and I've said this before, that I predicted 2025 was going to be the year that Donald Trump was going to test the boundaries on everything, the limits of presidential power. He's going to push the edges of the envelope, and you're going to get a lot of lower court decisions that were going to push back and rule against him. And that has happened. And I predicted that 2026 was going to be the year of the Supreme Court. And that was going to be the year where all of these cases were going to hit the Supreme Court, and they were going to have to make some very big decisions on a lot of very big stuff, including, by the way, separation of church and state, which I have already predicted they're going to completely overturn all of that case law as we know it. Separation of church and state is not going to exist after next year, is my prediction. We're going to have religious displays in schools, government buildings, everywhere. That's my prediction. But what has happened weirdly is the Supreme Court has decided to, even though they're not in session, grab some of these cases on an emergency basis with very little briefing, no oral argument by the lawyers, and just keeps issuing these 6-3 decisions, the 6 conservatives. And that is highly unusual. And they did it in this case, where they basically, ICE was stopping in LA. This was the case. Now, keep in mind, it's an LA case, but now that the Supreme Court has decided, this applies to the entire country, that if you are basically a person that you can use race as a factor, that you can use if somebody is speaking Spanish or a foreign language, or is speaking English with an accent. And you can also factor in the kind of job they're doing. So basically just like profiling, like basically Latino people who are working manual labor type jobs, that the ICE is allowed to detain them and ask for proof of citizenship. And if you don't have it with you, you will be taken down to an ICE detention center somewhere in the area. And then your family or friend will have to come down there while you're sitting there in your shackles to get you out if they can find something proving you're a citizenship. And this is going to be all over the country. So basically it just green lights ICE to just be able to randomly stop people of color who have an accent and make them prove their citizenship, or they go to a lockup.
Insane. Last question. You had tweeted this out too, which is, Donald Trump, some of the statements that he made earlier today, complaining about domestic violence arrests because it appears to be going against what he's saying, where there's no crime in DC now, apparently. What do you make of those statements?
Well, yeah. So he wants there to, what he's trying to do is show that there's zero crime in DC, right? Crime was horrible before, and now all of a sudden there's no crime, right? So this is what he's trying to get to somehow, that there will be zero crime, although that's not going to happen. But so he was griping today about domestic violence arrests, because when you think about it, like if you flood any American city with troops, crime's going to go down because people are not going to go out. They're not going to do stuff. They're just going to stay home. So of course it's going to go down. Any American city, if you flood it with troops. But that doesn't really stop domestic violence. In fact, domestic violence incidents probably go up, as they did during COVID lockdowns. I was a criminal defense lawyer during COVID lockdowns. The two criminal charges that went through the roof during 2020 were domestic violence and DUIs, because people were home, they were drinking, and they were getting in fights with their spouses. So those cases spiked. So that's what happens when people stay home. Those cases go up. So what Trump is complaining about probably is that domestic violence arrests are going up, and that's kind of hurting his record of cleaning up DC. And there's not much troops can do about that. You can't put troops inside people's houses. So now what he's arguing, just like he did during COVID, is we need to slow the testing down. What he's basically arguing is, maybe these domestic violence things really shouldn't count. Maybe they really shouldn't count. It's just a husband and wife fighting. Those shouldn't really count as crimes against my record. It's just typical Trump.
That's exactly what it is. Before I let you go, Ron, talk to me a little bit about your Substack. What are you working on today?
Well, covering obviously a lot of different things, including some of the things that we just talked about, but also really spending a lot of time on my Substack today about the South Korean Hyundai raid and the fallout. People don't understand, especially, of course, the MAGA base who doesn't give a shit. But the fallout in Korea to this is just, they're beside themselves. This is the number one story in Korea. These 400 Hyundai people getting arrested at the battery plant. And basically what they're saying is, we just invested a couple $1 billion to build this huge new battery plant in Georgia. It's what Trump wanted us to do. I mean, this is what they asked. And our president just met with him the day before. And then the following day, they just go in and raid this factory and arrest all our people and send them home. And they're like, the problem is this is a very advanced battery plant. And what their argument is, look, the American workers don't know how to do this stuff. We're trying to train them. We sent these people in to train American workers to do these jobs, and you just arrested all of our people who are temporarily doing these jobs and training Americans to do them. You just arrested all of them and sent them out of the country. They're like, what are we supposed to do? I mean, they're taking this as a serious national insult to them, an insult to their whole entire country. And I'm profiling like all the different media outlets throughout South Korea, both conservative, liberal, pro-Trump, anti-Trump, just absolutely trashing the United States. And this didn't need to happen. It's just more bumbling and stumbling and ruining relationships with our allies around the world.
Yeah. Look forward to reading that later today. By the way, we have one of your co-workers, Fred Wallman's going to be joining us on the show tomorrow. Fred's great, by the way. I love having Fred on this call.
on the
great.
veteran stuff. Really, really good to have him
Right.
on. Yeah.
As are you as well. So yeah, we're honored to have you on. And of course, Fred will be joining us on the show tomorrow. Ron, keep up the great work, my friend. One of these days, I have to convince you to go on the Pierce Morgan show with me. I know you don't like that format, but you would just destroy these MAGAs.
I know, but I just, I don't really like Piers Morgan that much. And I hate the format of his show. And
yeah, there's a lot of screaming and yelling. I guess I kind of enjoy it a little bit, but I can understand why
you might be better than me. I don't want to I don't really want to do anything to promote his show either. Like to help him out, not that I'm like a big deal. I'm not, but it's just,
I can understand.
I'm not a fan.
Understood.
I have no issue with you doing it. I mean, we need good people in there to mix it up.
I appreciate that. I can understand why you would say that. There are a lot of
do a good one on Thursday with Asen and Aaron Rupar about with Joe from Jersey about clipping, about how we approach clipping Trump rallies and Trump events and all that stuff.
I've never talked to Asen, but Aaron Rupar is a friend of mine, and he just passed 1 million followers on Twitter. I think they're both great, by the way. Both of them, Aaron and Asen, are two of the best at clipping stuff. I mean, they are so quick. I don't know how they do it, but they are so good at what they do.
Talk about like the strategy and approach. Asen's never done an interview on camera, and he's not
really.
He's not going on camera. Washington Post did a huge profile of him, but he would not allow himself to be on camera. So he's actually not on camera on this one. I told him he could wear a ski mask. I thought that would be funny, but he wouldn't do it. So he's just going to be like audio, where there's going to be like a shadow of Asen because he's a shadowy figure, mysterious figure. And me and Aaron will be on. Yeah,
Aaron's not afraid. He does my show once every few weeks. And Aaron's also great at what he does. I mean, every prominent political figure.
We're all good friends. Yeah.
Yeah. They seem like Asen seems like a great guy too, but every single politician, every prominent politician, including Trump, has retweeted their stuff at one point or another. So it's pretty cool. Well, I look forward to listening to that Thursday. That'll be very, very interesting. Ron, always appreciate the time as always, my friend. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay. See ya.
There you go. Ron Filipkowski, everybody. I love Asen. I love Aaron Rupar. I really do believe they are two of the best at putting together clips up on social media, like in a very timely fashion, like within seconds. And I know that because we use some of their clips. I'll be the first one to say it. And Ron Filipkowski is one of the best in the business. I always say that. He's one of the hardest working guys in the business, one of the smartest guys in the business. And we got another one coming on tomorrow from Midas Touch. Fred Wellman is going to join us on the show tomorrow, who knows a thing or two about serving as well. So we'll talk to him about that. All right, so here's what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to reset the show a little bit. I do want to go to the YouTube Super Chat if I can before we take a break, because we got a couple comments that I would like to read. But here's what I'm asking from all of you. A few quick things here. What are your thoughts on Donald Trump at the U.S. Open? Didn't seem to go very well for him. What are your thoughts on J.D. Vance making comparisons to Donald Trump serving in the Marines, which I find to be utterly atrocious, embarrassing, and disgusting? So we are talking about that as well. And also Mike Johnson, who says that apparently Donald Trump was an FBI informant, and that's why he was hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein. Thanks to Terrence, who says, Brian, I disagree on you saying J.D. Vance isn't stupid. This guy defines stupid. He has no intelligence or common sense. Well, listen, I think J.D. Vance is savvy enough to understand what it would take to be the vice president of the United States, and he's played the game and he's lied. He does a lot of stupid things. He says a lot of stupid things. I agree with you, Terrence. But he knows that Donald Trump is a draft dodger. And he knows that Donald Trump is possibly the next American Adolf Hitler because he said it, but he has no backbone, if you get where I'm coming from there. So I think we both can be right there. My good friend Darcy, who is such an incredible person, she's been on this show a couple times. She not only is a fan of the PTL radio show, but she also works as my personal therapist. I will say that as well. She is such a nice lady. Darcy says how lucky we all are to have this PTL family. Thank you, Brian. You're a true mensch. I appreciate that, Darcy. Darcy is a wonderful person and a great friend. So your YouTube statements, comments could be read in the super chat with your support there. Of course, we're on the website, pushingthelimits.live. So I'm asking you all those questions coming up. What do you make of J.D. Vance making comparisons to Donald Trump and a Marine? What did you make of Donald Trump's appearance at the U.S. Open? A lot of people seem to be very disgruntled and very angry with that. And then you have conspiracy theories from Mike Johnson and others that are claiming Donald Trump was an FBI informant, and that's why he was so close to Jeffrey Epstein over the course of 10 years or so. I think it's utter nonsense. What do you think of that? Again, the number to call 702-221-7283. And again, that number, if you want to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-7283. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Hey, everybody. Are you struggling to find a piece?
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Monday. Thank you so much for joining us. By the way, I hope everybody had a great weekend out there. We are in the YouTube Super Chat where your questions and comments can be heard. And also, if you support local, or I should say independent, not local, independent media, check out my website, pushingthelimits.live, where you can make purchases. And you can also make donations, whatever you can afford, we appreciate on there. As I mentioned from Midas Touch, Fred Wellman's going to be joining us tomorrow. We got Don Lemon that's going to be joining us on the show later this week. And I'm asking the callers right now, what do you make of J.D. Vance's comments comparing Donald Trump to a Marine when we all know he's a 3-time draft dodging coward? I just felt it was one of the worst statements that J.D. Vance, he's made a lot of bad statements, one of the worst that I have ever heard. And, of course, Donald Trump at the U.S. Open tennis tournament, watching the men's finals, falling asleep, getting booed. I don't think a lot of the fans there enjoyed him being there, that's for sure. Number to call, 702-221-7283. Phone lines are full, as they usually are. Keep trying, and we'll get you in. Let's go to Teresa. She starts off this first segment. Hello, Teresa.
Hey, what's going on?
Teresa. Is this Teresa?
Yeah. Yes, it's me. Can you
Hi,
hear me?
Teresa. Yes, I can. Go right ahead.
Yes. Donald Trump being an FBI snitch, he probably could have been.
Well, I don't believe it.
He
First
probably
of all,
was a snitch because of the. I don't think he did it. I think he wanted to get something, and the reason why he snitched on him because he wanted that property. I don't
well,
think he had anything to do.
it's Teresa. Correct me if you think I'm wrong. One of two scenarios here. Either at one point he was an FBI informant and they made some sort of deal with him because they had a lot of dirt on him, or it's a complete fabricated lie and the Trump administration are using it as some sort of line and excuse to why he was friends with him. Either way, it's absurd, but I don't think it's true. I don't think he was ever an FBI informant. I think it's all nonsense.
No, I don't think he was an FBI, but I think he probably did sneak because of Epstein and that property. I don't think he was an informant.
Right.
Donald Trump is a crook. I always have been, from my reading of him back in the 70s all the way up to now.
Well, let me tell you something, because somebody that I am an acquaintance of, he's a right winger and a MAGA supporter, said you have to stop saying that Donald Trump is an adjudicated rapist because they will sue you. So I just want to speak to Donald Trump and to every member of his administration and every single one of his attorneys. Donald Trump is an adjudicated rapist. Let me repeat. Donald Trump is an adjudicated rapist. Why do I say that? He was found liable for sexual abuse, and the judge in the case characterized it as rape. That's what we call an adjudicated rapist. So they're not going to scare me. That's who he is. He's a 34 count. He's a 34 count convicted felon. I believe he's in the Epstein files, and I believe he did some horrible things to children. He already admitted on the Howard Stern show to going into teenage girls' locker rooms when they were undressing. Oh, and by the way, for all the right-wing idiots out there that were saying, Howard Stern is going to lose his show, you're all dumbasses. I told you that because Howard Stern was playing a prank on all of you. He did it on purpose because you all are so stupid you believed it. He's one of the highest paid, if not the highest paid broadcaster in all of media. And all you right-wing idiots out there look like fools once again. I just wanted to add that too.
Yeah. And Donald Trump told us himself when he said that on that bus, back in the first term.
Grabbing the genitals of women. Yep. They let me do it because I'm a celebrity. Yeah. What a wonderful thing to say. Let me say, Teresa, that's not locker room talk. That's just a douchebag. Somebody who would be an adjudicated rapist and an orange orangutan. Maybe he could sue me for that too, like he sued Bill Maher. Yes, I do think Donald Trump is the son of an orange orangutan. I've always believed that. All due respect to orangutans. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Brian. Brian is next up on PTL. Hey, Brian, what's going on?
How you doing, Brian? It's always good to listen to you. Always good to see you. Support you every which way I can, man.
Thank you.
I thought about doing a little herb today, but I'm gonna let it slide. Man. I'm not gonna. Well, Brian. No. Okay, no. I'm not gonna do it. Listen, though. Check me out, though. You mentioned this earlier, and I'm not gonna let it slide. I'm sorry. I'm just not. For all of my Georgians out there, anybody in Georgia, the woman's name is Tory Branham, a MAGA nut, a racist conspiracy theory-driven idiot. Tory Branham running for Georgia State Senate seat 12, I believe it is. Her name, again, is Tory Branham. She's all over social media getting dragged because she's the one admitted herself that she called ICE on all of those South Koreans and stuff. So I just want to let the people know I'm trying to do God's work like you, Brian. I'm trying to do the work for the people, man. You want to know who it was? Name is Tory Branham.
Okay, well, there's a lot of Tory Branhams out there. There's a lot of MAGA idiots out there that are running for office. There's a lot of complete idiots, sadly. And, we got to keep our eye on that. We got to make sure these midterms that people get out and vote and do their job. I mean, that's what it comes down to. These maniacs cannot get into office and into power. I mean, and we got those that are in power out of power if we want this nonsense to end.
Well, Brian, I just don't understand. I can't help myself. Brian, I just don't understand. Why do you and your callers, why do you always have to bash MAGA supporters. Can't you see the man is doing the will of the people? I mean, come on, Brian.
Herb,
You always
Herb,
say the
listen.
same things all the time.
Herb, when you're right, you're right, Herb. Okay, listen, I've been wrong about you. I've called you a lot of names. I've called you ignorant, stupid. I've called you a moron. I've called you a coward. Herb, I completely apologize to you. I've been wrong. You're obviously an extremely intelligent man. You're very educated. You certainly vote after your own self-interest because we know that Donald Trump is so great to minorities in the black community, and he really takes care of the poor. So, Herb, I got to hand it to you. When I'm wrong, I'm wrong. You're right, sir. Is this April Fool's, by the way?
Brian, listen, I don't believe you just for 1 second, but it's okay, though, because I know you hate me. I hate you, too, but I love you at the same time because that's why I call into your show every day. That's why I listen to your show every day.
Herb, you sound a lot like LeVar Burton for some reason. I don't know. You have like a LeVar Burton reading Rainbow type voice today.
No, I prefer Lawrence Taylor, or I prefer Herschel Walker. I'm more of that type. I'm
two very intelligent
alpha male.
Two very intelligent people, by the way. Yeah, Herschel Walker, very intelligent man. Hey, I forgot about Herschel Walker, Brian. I forgot about him. Yeah, how did that campaign? How did that campaign go for him? Does he still carry around that police badge? You think around with him everywhere he goes?
Somebody actually said this, and I didn't disagree with him. It would have made me mad if it wasn't true. Herschel Walker is the living embodiment of what white racist conservatives think about black people.
That's why they love Herschel Walker. That's why they love him. That's why they love Larry Elder. That's why they love Candace Owens sometimes. That's why they love Leo Terrell.
Tatum.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Tatum's done this show before. He's a complete imbecile, and I made him look like one on this show. He's a complete idiot. I called him the male version of Candace Owens. I am proud to say that when I was debating Tatum on the Pierce Morgan show, that I said he has Trump fellatio syndrome, and I'm very proud of that.
I'm proud of you too.
Thanks.
I remember when you said it.
Thanks for the call, Brian. You're the best, man. God, I love that Herb impersonation. It's a mix between Herb and LeVar Burton. By the way, I love LeVar Burton. Okay. Can't say the same about Herb. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Teresa. Teresa is next on PTL. What's up, Teresa?
Hello, Brian.
Hey, what's up, Teresa?
Hi, I'm a mother of a Marine.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and I would like to say that he is a disgrace, Trump is, and my son had to go through a lot to become a U.S. Marine.
Well, your son's obviously a hero, and you guys have made sacrifices as well. And Donald Trump has never made any sacrifices in his life ever. He's a draft-dodging coward. Yep. He only does things for his own self-interest and nobody else. He is an absolute coward, a despicable man, a sexual abuser, and a felon. I mean, I don't know what else this man needs to do for people to say, geez, I can't support somebody like that. But there's still millions of people in this country that support him, even though his approval ratings are in the low 40s last I checked. But I just don't know how anybody could support a man like that. I mean, he's not a man. He's a coward.
Yes. And that's why I had to call, because of the fact that J.D. Vance said that about him.
Yeah.
And he is deployed right now. He was deployed to L.A. I had called you a while back when he was deployed to L.A. And now he's deployed again. And he'll be out there for about 7 months. But not to L.A. He's just somewhere else, overseas. And then he's going to come back to his duty station, and will be sent to a different duty station within a month and a half when he returns.
Well, I wish him the best, and I hope he's safe. And I give your son my gratitude, because of people like him, I'm able to do this radio show every day. And I thank you, your family, and of course your son for his bravery. Let me tell you something. Your son is not a sucker and a loser. He's the opposite of that. He's the opposite of Donald Trump. He's a hero, and he's very brave. And we are all very proud of him, as I'm sure you are and your entire family is. And I appreciate you listening to the show and your support. Thank you so much. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Damon is next up on PTL. Hey, Damon. Good to hear from you. What's going on?
What's going on, Brian? Pissed off at, the orange guy as usual. My whole family, Brian. My grandfather fought in Korea. My brother fought in Desert Storm. My father fought in Vietnam. I got an uncle that was in the Navy, saw no action. First cousin grew up like a brother that was in the Marines. Now, basically, I'm Private Ryan over here, Brian. But Trump is looked at as a patriot, but my whole family is looked at as DEI and get rid of their history. You know how bad that pisses me off, Brian? It's ridiculous. Because me, myself, you know me, Brian, how I feel about this country.
Of course.
I'm like, dude, I'd have never risked my life for this country in a million years. And now, I mean, even then, they saw it the same way I saw it, but they needed the army. But the thing is, you erased all of us, and you trying to fabricate this with this man. And it's just America, Brian. I'm frustrated. I can't get my thoughts together, but I got one more thing to say. If we do go to a religious state, like your guest said, that now church and state is not separated, we need to start a movement, because they're not going to figure out what denomination to follow. So if we got to vote for what denomination to follow, Brian, I want to go with the one that's the snake people, the snake Christians, because I think that'll really prove their faith. I believe that they believe in God, because they play with poisonous snakes and think Jesus is going to protect them. So if we're going to go with a denomination that's going to be all over the whole country, Brian, let's go with the snake one.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. I mean, the fact that our vice president would compare Donald Trump to a Marine is a laughable joke. It's an embarrassment, and you're really poo-pooing on every single brave man and woman who serves this country. I just think it's absolutely despicable. Despicable.
It is. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is, Brian. And I don't understand how these people can call themselves patriots when they are treasonous, Brian. Everything they doing to support this man is treasonous, but they walk around like they the real patriots. It kills me. It blows my mind. And then you see all these people with the wet heat people signs on their car.
Yeah.
The ones that driving down the road 80 miles an hour, they all about law and order, but can't even follow speed limits.
Yeah.
The wet heat people. Those the ones like, Brian, I think Civil War is about to start, Brian, because I feel like punching them in the face every time I see them.
Well,
so I'm pretty sure if I'm feeling like that everybody else is ready, Brian. It's a powder keg. And those dudes that's in Chicago, I got a few boys in Chicago and Gary, Indiana. They for real. If you come grab them, Brian, and act like you want to, hey, what's your name? Where are you at? Blah, blah, blah. They're going to say folks. They're going to say gangsters disciples. They're going to say Latin King. That's who I am.
But you know what's amazing to me is that you had thousands of people peacefully protesting in Washington, D.C. against deploying troops out there. And you never really hear anybody on the right praising them for their First Amendment rights without any violence. But yet when it comes to those who beat police officers on January 6th, somehow they're hostages and patriots. But those old fogies and those libtards that were protesting peacefully because they don't want the National Guard in there, they're the bad guys.
All the time, Brian. It's frustrating, Brian. I can't get my thoughts together, man. I'm frustrated. I'm so frustrated. I'm so mad. That's how I know it's a powder keg, Brian.
Right.
Because I'm frustrated. I'm an easygoing guy for the most part.
Just as frustrated.
Frustrated to the point.
Just as frustrated as any woman that spent 13 seconds naked with Donald Trump.
You're worse than that, Brian.
Damon, it's good to hear from you, my friend. Have a good one, my friend. I need some
take it easy,
laughs.
my brother.
I need some laughs today. So it's been a trying weekend for me. 702-221-7283. So today, if you'd like to call into the show to make me laugh, now's a good time to do it. All right, we'll get to all the phone calls here. We have one phone line open. I want to go to X. X is next up on PTL. Hey, X, what's going on?
Hey, what I wanted to tell you was, how Trump is, calling, military people cowards and John McCain, names. That is highly unacceptable. And I agree. What he did was wrong, deeply. However, I don't know if I could call him a coward because, when he got shot, in July 13th, he pumped his fist up.
Okay, so hold on. Okay, so X, let's explore that for a moment. What would you call somebody that dodges the military multiple times, making something up that he has bone spurs? What would you call somebody like that?
Right, there's no doubt. I wouldn't want to go to the military either. So,
okay,
I'm
hold
not
on.
gonna,
That's not. I didn't.
Hold
Hold on. The question wasn't whether you would want to go to the military. Pay attention to my question, X. What would you call somebody who dodges the military multiple times, lies, and get a doctor to say that he has bone spurs? What would you call that sort of behavior?
That's cowardice. But
Thank you. So that's why I call him a coward. You're saying he's not a coward. What has Donald Trump given up in his life? What has he sacrificed? Tell me.
He pumped his fist.
I don't care if he pumps his fist. What has he given up in his life to help others? Tell me.
I mean, he was willing to go to jail to become president.
Did he go to jail?
He was like, you know.
What do you mean he was willing to go to jail? He never went to jail. That's not a sacrifice. What has he sacrificed? I'm going to ask you again. What has he sacrificed in his life? Forget about even when he was president. What has this man ever sacrificed in his life? Can you please tell me?
I'm not going to defend him because, like, you know.
Yes, you are. You're saying he's not a coward. You were praising him for pumping his fist after he allegedly got shot. And by the way, I find it interesting that the day after he allegedly got shot, which, by the way, I don't believe he ever was, he was literally playing golf the next day with no bandage on his ear. And then he wore a big tampon on his ear at the Republican National Convention. So I now ask you for a fourth time, what has this man ever sacrificed in his life?
Like, I don't know. Like, you know,
like I don't know. Okay,
you know,
that's why he's
I can't defend him on that.
X. That's why he's a coward. X.
He pumped his fist up, like, you know, that's what I'm saying. Period.
X.
Like, you know.
X. That's why he's a coward, because he never sacrificed anything in his life. He's a terrible father. Hold on. He's a terrible father. X. He's a terrible father. He's a terrible husband. He's a terrible human being, and he dodged the military multiple times. That is not only the definition of a criminal, but it's also the definition of a coward. And you cannot deny that.
To go to the Vietnam War. Who would have wanted to go to Vietnam War? That's what I'm saying.
It's not a matter of whether, listen to me, there's a difference between not wanting to go and then lying about it and dodging it. There's a lot of people that did not want to go, but guess what? They still went. They still went. They still went. Also playing golf. You know what? There's a lot of people that don't want to go to the hospital, but they go anyway because it saves their life. There's a lot of people that don't want to go to war, but they do it because it's their service to the nation. Donald Trump lied and dodged the military. It has nothing to do with whether you want to do something or not, and it has everything to do with whether you do it or not, or whether you lie about it. He is a coward. Why do you keep defending him?
I'm not going to keep defending him.
You sound like you are. Why can't you just say he's a coward?
The Democratic Party's rating is lower than the Donald Trump's. Like, you know, and going to the midterms.
What do ratings have to do?
They're not able to raise money. They're not able to raise money. What I'm saying is, like, you know, you're so obsessed with biased news. You're so obsessed with highly biased news.
We're not talking about raising money. By the way, Donald Trump has had some of the worst approval ratings in 50 years, okay? I don't care. I don't care what approval ratings say. I don't care. I don't care. Why is it you deflect?
For the next 3 years,
no,
whether you like it or not. I don't like.
I never said he wasn't.
Or not.
I never said he wasn't, but you started this conversation. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. You started this conversation by saying he's not a coward. I've given you multiple examples of why he is. Why don't you retract what you just said?
He pumped his fist, like, you know.
Who cares if he pumped his? Who cares if he pumped his fist? White supremacists pump their fist too. Does that make them a coward?
You would have, like,
or does that make them a patriot?
Like, you know, what I'm saying is, that's
what are you saying?
Like,
yes.
you know, that's not something that you can pre-plan.
So Klan members, Klan members pump their fist. Does that make them patriots? Would you salute them as well?
And like, you know, get Midas touch, like, you know, off your network,
Why do
man.
you
Like,
keep
you know,
changing the subject? Wait, hold on a second. X, hold on. So by your definition, if you pump your fist, that makes you some sort of hero?
Almost after getting shot, like, you know, stuff like that, like, you know,
stuff like
and
that,
almost
like
dying.
after
Like,
getting shot.
Yes.
X, it amazes me that you continue to defend him, which you're doing right now. It amazes me.
All you want. If you don't believe my actions, then wait until the next 4 years, man.
Well, no, I'm not going to wait. I mean, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to say what I'm going to say. And if you think Donald Trump is some sort of hero, even though he dodged the military, never has been in any type of fight his entire life. He never fought for anything except himself his entire life. But because he raised his fist, somehow that makes him a patriot, X. That makes you an imbecile. Thank you, X. I appreciate your phone call, but that makes you an imbecile. Okay? If a white supremacist raises his fist, does that make him a patriot too? You sound ridiculous. And all you do is make excuses for the orange turd. And quite frankly, it's exhausting, X, and it's pathetic. It really is pathetic. Here you go. I'll pump my fist and say, I hope you get deported to Gaza. Does that make me a patriot? I'm pumping my fist. Holy smokes. Numchuck was pumping his fist as well. So I guess Numchuck is a patriot too. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Las Vegas. Let's go to Jeff. Jeff is next up on PTL. Hi, Jeff.
How you doing? Over the weekend, Donald Trump declared a war against Chicago, and he's pretty much walked that back. But that's pretty much a treasonous act. He stated what would be treason by stating that he wants to go to war. You know, the Department of Chicago will know what the Department of War is about. That would be definitely treason, because like there was a movement like in Texas and California to secede from the United States. Now, if they did secede, then that would be an act of war. But for Chicago and Illinois, they're not planning to secede from the United States. So what he has said has been treasonous, and he has walked that back.
Well, I mean, I don't really care whether he walked it back. The bottom line is he said it. They're still being aggressive, and it's unlawful. Let's call it for what it is. What he did in D.C. is not necessarily unlawful, but trying to do it in Chicago or Baltimore or wherever else he wants to do it is completely unlawful. And he walks back a lot of things. When he said the war was going to be over in 24 hours, he campaigned on that. And then he said he was just being sarcastic. When he talked about injecting yourself with disinfectant, which was absurd, the next day he said he was just joking. So Donald Trump walks back a lot of things. It doesn't make it right, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, and any lawsuit that would be, any lawsuit or action by the Democrats against Trump for this, the Supreme Court most likely would side with Trump, because they are completely, they're, like you were saying, they want the immigration service for profiling. I mean, they're completely off the rails. I mean, they can't be more right-wing radical as an institution. So, we have three branches of government, and they're supposed to be independent, and it's obviously that all three are not independent and are not. We have no checks and balances anymore. So each state needs to fight for their own rights.
Yeah, no, I agree. With you.
And another thing about the tennis game.
Yeah.
Okay. King Henry VIII used to play tennis, and the Sun King of France, I believe, also played tennis. So for Trump to go to this tennis match is right in line with his thoughts of himself being king.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I hear you, my friend. I appreciate the call. You're right. The wannabe dictator, the wannabe king himself, Donald J. Trump, also known as the Orange Orangutan. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you would like to be a part of the conversation. All right, let's see who we going to do next here. Let's go to John. John is next on PTL. What's up, John?
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
I agree with the caller that spoke that had the military history with his family and stuff like that about people getting tired of it. I'm very surprised MAGA people have not been attacked by these gangs or people that are tired of MAGA. I mean, they got big mouths. They don't know how to shut their mouths. I'm really surprised. I've seen a couple of people get beat up, but nothing real bad. I'm really surprised there hasn't been riots going on, and it's just a matter of time before it happens, because this guy's out of control and nobody's doing anything about it.
Well,
now, what I'm seeing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I hope that doesn't happen. I hope we don't see riots. I certainly don't want to see anybody get hurt, and I don't condone violence. But I can tell you that I'm worried, just like you are, that could happen in the near future, because things are getting worse and worse and worse. Luckily, in Washington, D.C., we had some peaceful protests, thousands of people protesting in the streets in D.C., and I give them a lot of credit for it, protesting against the deployment of troops. But I'm with you, and yeah.
I can tell you right now, if Trump pulls because I'll tell you right now, I don't care how unpopular the Democrats are, the Republicans are really unpopular. They're out of their minds. The Democrats should be able to win, even if it's a slight margin. If Trump turns around and does something fishy and the Republicans win by a landslide, there definitely will be riots, for sure.
I hope not. I hope you're wrong, but I hear why you would make a statement like that. I don't blame you for saying that. I mean, I've heard, we could be headed towards martial law. So, I mean, I don't take anything off the table per se. And I appreciate your call. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Mark. Mark is next on PTL. Hi, Mark.
Hello, Brian.
Hi.
I was wondering if you're going to get Lev Parnas on the show.
Yeah, we'll definitely get him on the show. We'll get him on the show soon.
And David, I heard David Pollack is hiding in his house. That white nationalist. I haven't seen him around.
No, I haven't asked him to come on anytime soon. No.
Yeah, thank you. But I do have a comment. I was listening to a professor of politics, Congress, and he was mentioning that he just does not understand why the Democrats, now I never knew they were able to do this, Brian. They can actually hold their own hearings, and everyone on the committee is a Democrat in a special room in Congress, and they could call their own witnesses and all those survivors, and they could have their own investigation. Yeah, true, it won't go anywhere, but it's going to be televised, and it's going to be seen around the world, guaranteed. And this professor said that he just doesn't understand why the Democrats are so silent and not doing anything. And that's my biggest issue. They have, yeah, I get voting for a ham sandwich over Trump, but they have not earned my vote. They are doing nothing. And Lev Parnas stated that there's a lot of fighting with the DNC and how they're going to, which direction they're going to lead. They don't even know how to lead yet. They don't even know what direction. And Lev Parnas is bringing all this out. That's why you need to bring him on the show. He has so many sources from within the Trump administration.
Yeah, I've had Lev on a couple times. I know Lev pretty well. He's a friend of mine. So we'll definitely have Lev back on the show at some point in the near future. Lev is a good guy. Number to call if you want to be a part of the program is 702-221-7283. Again, that number 702-221-SAVE. Let's go to Shelly. Shelly's next up on PTL. Hello, Shelly.
Hey, Brian. Mr. Maybelline should be ashamed of himself for calling the Orange Man Bone Spurs Biff, comparing him to the military or whatever he did.
Right.
But he did the military.
Yep.
And I know what Donald Trump is up to. He wants to send the military into blue states with black mayors because he wants crap started so he can do the Insurrection Act. I can't think right now because I'm so pissed off. But that's what he wants to do. And he wants to normalize it. So come the midterms, they will be in every state. And that's what's going to happen. Mark my words.
Well, Shelly, I certainly don't doubt that. That is for sure. And I appreciate your call. It's good to hear from you. Let's go to Kevin. Kevin is next up on PTL. Hi, Kevin.
Hey, aloha, Brian. Great to talk to you again. Your caller you just sat on kind of took my thunder a little bit about the infighting in the DNC, and I got to agree with them. I mean, they run in the same playbook, which lost them the election. They've made zero changes to their platform. I mean, yes, we all know that Trump is a bad man. We ran that playbook and we lost. And what is the messaging that the DNC has? I mean, this is a scary thing. Is they're still not listening to the voters, whether you're independent or you're Democrat or you're Republican. They're still not listening to the voters. A lot of the majority of independent voters say they are tired of career politicians, and not one career politician from the DNC has even stepped down. So they're going on a suicide mission into this next election. Like, we can actually maybe stop the bleeding a little bit. I mean, I always told you this, there's no putting toothpaste back in the tube. The damage that this man has done I mean, I think it's going to take, a decade or two to fix. And that's barely if we can even stop him at this turn. And that's the scariest thing. I mean, I've always been a registered independent my whole life, but I've always caucused with the Democrats. I've always held my nose, but I'm tired, Brian, of holding my nose. I really am. And I admire you. And there's, these other young, like Robbie, I know Robbie's not young, but I'm saying, like, the energy and the
Robbie
different,
Roadsteamer.
yeah, like
Trump was on the Epstein plane. He was on the.
I mean, the thing is with this. I mean, we had the knockout punch. How do we allow MAGA or conservatives or Trump escape 94 felonies? And that's the infuriating thing. Is like, even I can guarantee you, if we had a video of Trump. I mean, it was given, let's say, Ivanka, she jumped ship, and here's the video. I found it, or I've had it my whole life. Here's a video of him molesting more than just one or two or three underage girls. I still don't think that, like, with the Supreme Court in his back pocket, I don't think it's going to change anything. What do you think? I mean, am I wrong?
Well, here's what I think will change. The midterms are right around the corner. If people actually get off their ass and vote, that's step number one. Step number two, I don't care who runs on the right. Have to elect a Democrat. I don't care who it is on the left, quite frankly. Have to elect a Democrat to save our democracy in the 2028 elections. That's number two. And number three, and maybe this is the most important one of them all, we cannot normalize who Donald Trump is and the damage that he is doing to this country. We need to call it out every day. Our voices all need to be heard. That's why I always give you guys a platform on this show. We cannot normalize the times that we are living in today. If we do those three things and we focus on that and move to the future, not the past, I think that things could be okay. But I can't guarantee that. The damage that Donald Trump is doing to this country, I think it'll take decades to fully recover from. But those are the three things that we could control. So let's worry about the things that we can control right now. I think that's what's most important.
Yeah, but I think that we're bypassed the normalization. I think it already has been normalized. Oh, it's just Trump speaking. Oh, it's just Trump talk. I think we're bypassed that, my friend. And again, it's you're saying just we got to vote Democrat. But again, what is the Democratic Party going to offer? And it's the corporate Democrats against the progressive, there's different wings of the Democratic Party, right? But the corporate Democrats won't hand off the baton to the newer generation of Democrats.
Well, that's also a
look
problem.
What's going on in New York. They won't even back. They won't even back the one that's in lead right now. That's what's scary. Is it's like they're on a suicide mission. And if we lose New York, I mean, honestly, how much more? I mean, we went from stage 2 cancer to stage 4. I mean, do you agree?
I think we're in a lot of trouble. I'm not going to go that far, but I think we're in a lot of trouble, and I understand your frustration. I really do. I'm not ready to say we're headed towards a civil war. I'm not going to say your opinions aren't valid. I'm just saying I hope not. I think we need to focus on the midterms. There's still some important things that people who are anti-Trump like myself need to do. People like you need to do. And we have to take it one day at a time and somehow as a country get through the next 3 to 3.5 years. I don't know how that's going to happen, but I hope as a country we are able to do it and we can't give up. Thank you for the call, sir. 702-221-7283. Tina is next up on PTL. Hey, Tina, what's going on?
Hi. You said you wanted to hear something to make you laugh.
I could. I've had a rough morning. So I could use some jokes today.
I'm gonna do my best.
Okay.
Now, this is a Trump joke. Is that okay?
Yeah, I'm waiting for it. Let's go. Let's hear it.
So Donald Trump, he's the guy, the art of the deal. He knows how to do deals. So anyway, he dies and he goes to hell. And he gets there and he thinks he's going to finesse the devil and get him a deal that he can get out of it, or get it a lot better, easier. So the devil says, well, I have 3 doors for you. You get to choose which one, and that will be your fate. Behind the first door, there's President Barack Obama. And he's jumping in the pool, and he's getting out, and he's jumping back in the pool, he's getting back out again, he's jumping back in the pool. And so Donald Trump said, well, no, I don't think I can do that all day. Let's go see what's behind door number 2. So behind door number 2 is Joe Biden. And Joe Biden has this big, like, gavel-like thingy, and he's breaking bricks. And the more he busts those bricks open, the more that they keep getting bigger and bigger, like he's really not going anywhere. So Donald Trump was like, oh, no, definitely not that. I cannot do that one. So then the devil says, well, you have one last one. So it's going to have to be number 3. So you tell me. So he goes to number 3. Bill Clinton is behind door number 3. Well, Monica Lewinsky is in there with Bill Clinton doing Monica Lewinsky. And so Donald Trump says, well, hey, that's something I can do. I can get with that. I can do that. And the devil said, okay, Monica Lewinsky, you're free to go. Trump, get in.
That's a good one. I knew you were going there with that. Maybe replace him though with Vladimir Putin. But yeah, that is a funny joke. I might use that one myself. Thank you for the call, my dear. I do need some laughs this morning. That was funny. Thank you. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. All right, one more jokester on the line. Let's go to Beverly. Beverly, what's going on?
Okay. Hey there, Brian.
Hey.
I got 2 quick ones.
Okay.
In a recent survey, 70% of Americans said that Donald Trump becoming president has made them nervous.
Yep.
The other 30% said it will make them Canadians. Okay. And a Russian spy, a sexual predator, and a billionaire walk into a bar. The bartender says, what can I get you, Mr. President?
Those are good ones. I'm going to try to remember those. Those are really good. You could say, yeah, liable rapist, obese man, orange orangutan. That would probably give it away.
Too many things.
Yeah,
to say.
there are
Yeah.
too many. Well, thank you. That was a funny joke. I appreciate that, Beverly. Thank you very much.
Okay, have a great day.
Yes, I love my listeners. Aren't they fantastic? Sometimes you need some jokes. 702-221-7283. Siobhan is next up on PTL. What's up, Siobhan?
Hi, Brian. The Supreme Court ruling has literally broke my heart today.
Tell us why.
I feel so bad for Latino people, you know? I feel like they are like almost like they're losing freedom, or, you know, I don't know. I just don't like the fact that they can't live a normal life here. Well, it's like our country just got up and left.
Well, when you have Supreme Court justices, conservative Supreme Court justices, who ruled Donald Trump to have immunity, they overturned Roe versus Wade. They don't seem to have a clear understanding about what anybody thinks in this country other than right-wing evangelical Christians. This is what you get when you put the Brett Kavanaughs and the Barretts, and you have those that are already in there that make rulings like the Clarence Thomases of the world. This is what you get.
I mean, he's awful.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like they don't even have a heart, or won't even like imagine what would happen. I mean, what it would be like to be them, you know?
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad the state of affairs that we are at in this country right now, and where we're going. And I can't look at all of you and say the next 3 years we're going to get through it together as a nation. Quite frankly, I don't know how we're going to get through it. I don't know how I'm going to get through it. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Who are we going to next year? Let's go to Courtney. Courtney's next up on PTL. Hi, Courtney.
Hey, how you doing? It's Courtney from Brooklyn.
Hey, Courtney, what's up?
I just wanted the listeners to know that we really need to be serious about the cost to our lives of this fool. I thought I would just fight out in my job, and 110 of us were laid off because of RFK Jr. on Friday.
That's horrible.
So there's
horrible, but not surprising. Yeah, horrible.
There's cost to this whole situation, and it's going to touch everybody.
I tell you, that guy, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., in the position that he is in, is probably, you could make the argument he might even be more dangerous than Donald Trump. I mean, it's just
I think so.
The lives that are going to be lost because of that fool, that tinfoil hat idiot. I mean, Donald Trump's causing enough damage, but I would argue that RFK Jr. could have even more damage to this country.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's the most dangerous person in the cabinet. Because, like I said, not those of us that work in healthcare are losing our jobs, and then the lives that are going to be lost to this vaccine craziness. And, if people don't die, they could be crippled and everything else, these children from polio and other things. So he's insane, and he needs to be removed immediately.
Agree with you 100%. I wish there was a way that we could do that. Unfortunately, legally, I don't think there is one. 702-221-7283. Let's go to the YouTube super chat. Winnie says, I was watching Trump talking yesterday, and it occurred to me that most of the problems in this country can be solved with a tube of Preparation H. Winnie, that's a good one. I needed that laugh. Thank you very, very much for that. I think Preparation H. I don't know. I don't think I've ever used that before. Is it good? I don't know. It was pretty funny. Lisa says, I have a really close friend who is Mexican, firstborn in this country. I worry about him every single day. Yeah, we all do. We all do. There's a lot of great people in this country, whether they're documented or not, that just want a better life for themselves. And we worry for all of you. There's no question about that. Number to call again, 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Albert. Albert is next up on PTL. Hi, Albert.
Hey, man, how's it going?
What's up?
Greetings to you from your southern neighbor, Arizona, more specifically Phoenix, Arizona. And let me just tell you this. I love you, man. You are an amazing speaker. I discovered your videos over on YouTube, and let me just tell you something. All of your jokes, the way you roast the hell out of these MAGA assholes, they make me laugh every single time. Dude, you're the best. And I wish there was a station where I can listen to you here down here in Phoenix. And I also have a little bit of a joke to tell you.
Okay, by the way, I have good news for you. I will be in Phoenix in December. I am part of the
Let's do it.
I am part of the UNF America tour. Me and Destiny and Robbie Roadsteamer, we're all going to be down there. So I will give you guys more information as the date nears, but we're going to try to get in touch with some MAGA Republicans out there, including Charlie Kirk. So I will be down there in Phoenix in December. Yes. We're going to try to have some run-ins.
I hate Charlie Kirk. I've been struggling to come up with a nickname for Charlie Kirk, but let me just tell you something. I think it's better to call him Charlie Derp Kirk because the only thing that he'll ever say is just derp, 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 derp.
That's true. I'm ready. I'm ready for your joke. Yeah, I'm ready for your joke.
So, so Trump, the annoying orange, or the orangutan, as we like to call him, a lot of these MAGA people, their minds are like cheese graters because you want to know why?
Why is that?
They can never have too many holes in the head.
That's a good, clean joke. I like that.
Oh yeah, it's the most cleanest joke I've ever done, but it's true. Their minds are like cheese graters because they're nothing but a bunch of ass kissers and bootlickers.
You're right.
Especially with a bunch of them down here in Phoenix. Oh my gosh, they make me all want to vomit.
Arizona,
and that's the reason as to why. Yeah, and Joe Arpaio, he sucks too. He's a complete ass kisser.
Yep, there's plenty of them out there, but I'm glad you're not one of them, my friend, and I appreciate the call. Thank you very much. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Frank. Frank is next on PTL. Hi, Frank.
Hey, Brian. How you doing?
Good. What's on your mind?
And could you do me one favor, though? If you talk to Darlene, I hope she's doing all right.
Yeah, I hope she's doing okay, too. She's in the hospital, and we wish her the best. Yeah, if I find anything out, I'll let you know.
Give her my best.
Yep.
My uncle served in the Army. My two brothers were ex-Marines. My two nephews are in the Army. One died. It's a shame that that man can be compared to those brave souls that defend this country and the rights for the people and just say spit out of the grave. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Absolutely.
I'm so I can't even tell you my feelings right now. But I just wanted to tell you, that about my life. I'm a Mexican American. I fear for my safety too. 69 years old, and I don't know if I'll be here another day,
Well, we all got to take it, Frank, one day at a time. You just keep doing what you're doing and keep up the fight, and things are going to be okay, Frank. All right? things are going to be okay. I want to go to the YouTube super chat, and let's go to Shelly. Shelly says, not white you country because Trump does not want you here. Depart all MAGA to Gaza. Speaker Johnson made a mistake. He said that Trump was an informant, so that tells Trump Trump is in the files. Well, of course he's in the files, Shelley. They've been suppressing that from us for a very, very long time. 702-221-7283, the number to call. Let's go to Ken. Ken is next up on PTL. Hey, Ken.
Sir. I'm doing pretty good. We are the hemorrhoids, and we must irritate as many maggot assholes as we can with facts. It irritates the crap out of them when we fax them upside the head. And that's all I got. Have a good day.
All right. Well, we are all the hemorrhoids. That's interesting. I've never been called a hemorrhoid before. Maybe some women in my life. Maybe that's possible. I don't know. Interesting. I don't want to go anywhere near any MAGA, anywhere near that area. That's for sure. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. All right, let's go to Dave. Dave is next on PTL. Hi, Dave.
I don't know how I could follow that. That was interesting. All right, so it feels. Oh my God. So let me tell you something. For one thing, I won $500 on bingo. Just want to let you know.
Where at? Where at?
I went to bingo. I went to I'll just say foreign bingo. So I won $500. So that was cool, right?
So you're going to buy a couple Trump Bibles with that money? What are you going to use it for?
Hell no, I'm going to donate to your network. What are you talking about?
Well, that's very kind. That's very kind of you.
I always do. I always do.
What was the winning number? What did you win on?
The funny thing, it was called Tic Tac. Where you do a blackout with 9 numbers and stuff like that.
Yes.
So what happened is that I was way behind. I wasn't really paying attention, and everybody else was waiting for numbers, right?
Yes.
So everybody's waiting for numbers. I was over there like, oh, I'm way behind. I better keep daubing. While everybody else was waiting numbers, I was way ahead of them, and I just needed one more number, and it was 068.
Oh.
So I got bingo, and everybody was mad. Do you know what I did? This is how I play bingo. I usually wait. I wait like 3 seconds. I usually wait 3 seconds. And then I call bingo, and then it gets them pissed off because they think that because their numbers on the monitor, so that could be. So I usually piss them off all the time. They don't like.
Did you ever watch the show Curb Your Enthusiasm? Have you ever watched that show? Watch the bingo episode. It is one of the funniest things I've ever seen, where Larry David gets into a bingo competition with somebody else, and it is just the funniest thing I've ever seen. Watch that episode.
Really?
Every episode is great, but yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Okay, well, I want to make my point.
Sure.
I'm going to donate afterwards, but I'm just
Thank
saying, here's the thing, man. Let's just put it out there. I'm just so sick of it. Doesn't anybody realize? And it's been like this for. I'm 60 years old, people. It's been like that for years. That the Republicans take from the middle class and give to the rich. It should be. We need to start taking money from the rich and give to the middle class and the poor. You know what I'm saying? Because it's always been like that. It's always been like the rich is taken from the middle class and the poor, and they're giving it to the rich at all times. They're cutting their, they steal from you. They take money from the taxes. They take money from, Medicaid. They take money from everything that they basically tried to ruin this country. They take it all. And then people just sit in there as like, oh, well, I'm a Republican, but yet my Medicaid was taken away. Oh, my food stamp was taken away. I'm so pissed off. Biden did all this, and now I'm going to blame it on the Democrats. So I'm hoping that Trump can do better. Well, he took away your Medicaid. He took away your food stamps, and you voted for him. Now you don't have no Medicaid. Now you don't have no food stamps.
But what's amazing is that a lot of these people that voted for Trump, that are going to lose their health care benefits. They could even have someone in their family that loses their life because of Donald Trump's policies, and they're so damn stubborn they won't admit it. They're so stubborn.
It's amazing. Isn't it amazing that they're basically, voting against their own.
These people are such idiots. Let me tell you a story.
It's incredible. It's just incredible. It just blows my mind.
Let me tell you another story to what you are speaking of. This was about, 4 years ago, maybe. I was in the hospital with COVID, and I was in the intensive care unit. And I was having conversations with some of the nurses who saved my life. And some of the nurses said there were people that were moments away from dying, taking their last breath. And their last words were, I don't think this virus is real. And then they died. These people, and by the way, I don't wish that upon anybody, but these people are so ill-informed and they're so stupid. It's like, what can you do with these people that are so brainwashed that watch their Newsmax all day? I mean, I don't know what you do with these people.
It's amazing. And not only that, the restaurants are empty. Nobody is spending money. People are getting laid off. The servers are getting their hours cut. You know, nobody's tipping on the table. It's just amazing how some of these people, you know, this is what your vote is doing. And this is how powerful your vote is.
Right.
When you vote in the ballot, this can basically damage the entire country. And that vote that they went to the ballot box and voted for the wrong guy damaged the entire country. It's amazing what a vote can do.
It really is.
It's amazing.
It really is.
All right, man. I appreciate it.
I appreciate your call. Thank you so much. Thank you for the call. Going back to the YouTube super chat, our friend Shelley says sometimes you can be a hemorrhoid, but a good hemorrhoid. I've never heard a good hemorrhoid. But when you're in the man on the street pass out hemorrhoid meds, hemorrhoid pads. That's funny. Yeah, hemorrhoids usually are not a good thing. 702-221-7283. Is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Again, that's 702-221-SAVE. MAGA callers always welcome. Let's go to Rolf. Rolf is next up on PTL. Hello, Rolf.
Hey, Brian, from Washington here. I just want to thank you for what you do and what we're all trying to do, which is basically, you bet, which is basically to light a fire into these people so they realize they're being hosed by Orange Julius Caesar. I've never known, I voted in 13 presidential elections. What's disappointing to me at age 71 is that, when I projected what I thought I might see as we all got older, I never thought I would see a direct traitor to the United States of America. But now
he's a traitor to the United States. Certainly he's been a traitor to every woman he ever had relations to. He's a traitor to his own family. He's a traitor to people like even Elon Musk, who, by the way, I don't feel sorry for at all. He's a traitor to pretty much everybody that has ever done business with him. This is who Donald Trump is. He's lived his entire life as a con man, and he will continue to do so.
Absolutely, I agree with you, and thank you so much. Basically, the call is just because I've always tried to get you to just say thank you for barking in their faces. We do it out here.
You bet.
I have a shirt that shows Trump in the middle with handcuffs, orange jumpsuit, beautiful scene. Another one right next to him is Vance, and right next to him is Musk. And when I have older ones that seem to be MAGA orientated point at that, what's that? And I said, well, this is the new version of the Three Stooges, Ho, Harry, and Surly. Surly's my parents' generation.
I like that. I like
asshole. And I got about 10 of them that proclaim different things. And now people are coming up much more so in the last 3 months, of course, because now they're getting hurt and they're saying, you're right. He is an asshole. So, anything we can do out here, barking, phone calling, here's one. Just give this to your listeners, please. Okay. And thanks for taking my call. Well, area code 202-456-1111. That's the White House comment line. But you don't want to give it to an old lady sitting at a desk. So if you call during prime time when there's 20 or more, you can leave your own voicemail. And Brian, I've been shitting myself leaving voicemails for him. I hear you read Mein Kampf when you were married to Ivana. About every night. That's where your mantra comes from, doesn't it? Anything I can.
I'm glad you gave out that number. I'm trying to think what I would say if, and by the way, thank you for the phone call. I'm trying to figure out what I would say if I left a message on the White House voice line and voiced my opinions. 702-221-7283. And again, that number, if you want to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-SAVE. Let's go to Mortal Suspects. Mortal Suspects is next on PTL. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Brian? How you doing today, man?
What's on your mind?
I just wanted to hit you up today to tell you I had the best FAFO moment with MAGA this past weekend.
What happened?
So I got a neighbor of mine that was like a staunch Trump supporter, right? She was living with her mother, and she used to go on Facebook all the time and talk about Trump, and she would purposely say, I'm doing this to piss people off, right? So this is FAFO number one with her. So recently, she just had her insurance taken away from her, and she had a falling out with her mother, and her mother put her out. So she was inboxing everybody GoFundMe links because now she's homeless and has no insurance.
Wow.
That's number one.
Wow.
I'm sorry to hear that happened to her. I wasn't laughing at that, but the fact that she was so adamant that Trump would never take away her insurance, she ended up losing her insurance behind all of the stuff that's going on. The other SAFO moment was one of the people that work in my apartment complex was always touting Trump and how great he is and everything. And then he actually came out and said that he regretted his vote because he just lost his Medicaid.
Wow. You know,
and it's not to make fun. It's just a FAFO moment because this is what we tried to tell them.
Right. They didn't listen, did they? And
No.
the same people that said Trump's going to save me money on my taxes, or the same people that said Trump is going to make my life easier. He's going to make more money for me and my business. The horrible thing about some of these people, and they really are some really ignorant people, and I don't wish them the worst, but when the worst happens to them, they still don't admit that they made a mistake in voting for Donald Trump. They're so stubborn and idiots that they can't even admit that they made a mistake. That's what's mesmerizing to me.
This one guy, he did. Now, the other lady who's homeless right now, no, she's still sticking to her guns, and she don't want to admit it. And it's funny because people have been commenting on her page like, you voted for the idiot that did this to you, and you're not seeing that.
They want to blame Joe Biden. They want to blame every Democrat for their problems. When these tariffs directly impact the economy, it's why we've had the worst jobs report we've had since 2009. But yet they still want to blame Joe Biden, or they want to blame it on DEI hires. They want to blame it on George Soros. They want to blame it on Kamala Harris. They want to blame it on Barack Obama. They want to blame it on everybody and everything. They still blame the war, as Trump does, on Joe Biden. Would have never happened. Would have never happened. Well, let me ask you this. Would President Xi and Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin be meeting when Joe Biden was president? They did it under Trump. Trump even self-admitted that they were, ganging up against America. They were getting together to gang up against the United States of America. Well, why didn't they do that under Joe Biden? They want to blame everybody else but their orange turd rapist leader.
It's crazy. And sad thing is we got another 3.5 more years of this. God forbid something happens.
Yeah, that's the thing that is mesmerizing to me. 7 months into his administration, and look at the damage that he's already done to this country. We got another 3+ years to go. And it's just exhausting. And I don't know how we're going to get through it. What's next, right? It's like, what's the next thing he's going to do?
I can tell you how I'm getting through it.
How's that?
I listen to your show every day, brother.
That's
what's helping me.
Well, that means a lot, my friend. I do it for people like you out there, and I really do appreciate that. And I appreciate your phone call. I really do.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you. You have a good day, Brian.
Thank you. You too, my friend. I appreciate your phone call. By the way, the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation, MAGA callers are always welcome. 702-221-7283. We are going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with a few more of your calls on the other side of the break. Again, that number, 702-221-7283. We have a couple announcements we'll make as well. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP. what's up? Welcome back. PTL Nation. By the way, Fred Wellman from Midas Touch is going to be joining us on the show tomorrow. Always great catching up with Fred. He's the best. Don Lemon going to be joining us later on in the week, so that's going to be fun as well. So always looking forward to that. And we passed 141,000 YouTube subscribers over the weekend, so we're very proud of that as well. We would love to get to 150,000 within the next month or so. So with that, we'll need your help. Spread the word. And of course, our good friends at Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones, you have a chance. The more slot machines you play there, the more you play, you have a chance to get into this electronic drum and a chance to, they're giving out 4 beautiful watches at the end of the month, very expensive watches. So for more details, check them out. Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones. Great food, great atmosphere. All right, let's get back to the phone call, 702-221-7283. Let's go to Jason. Jason is next up on PTL. What's up, Jason?
Yeah, I just heard that one caller talk about how they keep voting for the rich. But, you know, our public, the American public, a lot of them are really misinformed because if you remember, back in the 80s, the Republicans raided the Social Security and took all that money out and then said it was broke. And they said it was going to pay it back, and they never did. So, I mean, the people have been voting Republican and watching the Republicans steal from the American public. They still vote for them. So I don't expect anything great coming from this 2026 or 2028. Plus, like you said, King Jeffries, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, these old, decrepit Democrats that have no fight in them, I don't see it happening at all. I just don't. I don't have no faith in the Democratic Party, and I definitely don't have faith in our voting public because too many of them watch Social Security get raided and still voted for the Republicans. So I digress. I love you, man. Take care.
All right. Thanks, Jason. Listen, I can understand your frustration, but that doesn't mean we all can give up. There are some good Democrats out there for sure. We have to keep fighting. And I can't just sit here and put my hands up in the air and say, I give up. I have no faith. No, I do have some faith. Doesn't mean that I'm not extremely concerned, Jason, but I do have faith. Some great guests lined up for you this week. I do have faith. Hopefully you guys have faith in this show. Fred Wellman, as I mentioned, is going to be joining us on the show tomorrow from Midas Touch. Don Lemon's going to be joining us later on in the week. This is an independently owned radio show. What does that mean? You are supporting independent media. There's a couple things you could do. Of course, those that are very generous in the YouTube super chat, we appreciate you guys. Also go to my website, pushingthelimits.live. Again, that website is pushingthelimits.live, where you can make donations, whatever you can afford. We also sell merchandise on there. On a sports note, because I don't do a lot of sports on this show anymore. What a great game last night. So I'm watching this Buffalo Bills game last night with the Baltimore Ravens. And by the way, the Ravens were one of the teams that I picked to win it all this year. But what a colossal failure by them, up 15 points with like 4 minutes to go, and somehow they blew the game. Congratulations to the Buffalo Bills. It was an unbelievable comeback. One of the best comebacks, by the way, I've ever seen. Probably in my lifetime was it when Tom Brady was playing playing Arizona? Do I have that right in the Super Bowl? I think so. And was it that? I'm trying to remember what that Yeah. Atlanta. You see, that's how much I know football. And then they were down like 3 or 4 touchdowns. It was like 28-3. And then Tom Brady came back. That was probably the best comeback I've ever seen. But last night, can you recall a Sunday night football game that was that crazy? That was a fun game last night. And I'm so glad that football is back because it's a lot of fun. It's a little bit of an escape from me from, any issues that you or I might have in our life. To be able to watch football and enjoy it with your friends is something very, very special. Nicole Mitchell is going to be joining us in studio, co-hosting with me on Friday. We're going to be giving out some relationship advice, even though I'm probably the last person that should be doing that. Nicole is great. So we're going to have some fun on Friday. Obviously, we're going to talk politics, but we're also going to have Nicole in here, and we're going to be doing a call-in relationship advice for at least 1 or 2 segments. We're going to have some fun on Friday. So we got a lot planned out for you for the rest of the week. I love you guys. We will see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Have a great day, everybody.
Hey.